Happening, everybody? Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jeff Lightsy Jr. here at the Ball Sports Network. The Los Angeles Lakers are the 2020 NBA champions. LeBron did it. Number 4, Lakers did it. Number 17, AD did it. His first one. The Lakers ran just right through the Miami Heat. They were out of gas. I'm gonna just give it. Jimmy Butler had played all those minutes. He's averaging like 45 minutes a game. Game 6, they were just out of gas. LeBron won it. The Lakers won it. They're celebrating. Titletown has another one. Woo-hoo, Titletown, LA. But I want to just talk about a little bit about LeBron James's legacy a little bit. So we know LeBron James. Let me get myself together, get some composure, because what I'm about to say is going to sound laughable, right? But these are legit NBA former players, NBA analysts that are on national television that said some of these things, right? Kenny Smith said LeBron James was his 8th best player of all time. Paul Pierce had LeBron James barely cracking the top 10, just like Kenny Smith, right? Like, these guys legit said there were 7, 8, 9 guys better in the history of basketball, better than LeBron James. And as we all know now, just as it was then when they said it, and they ain't said 5 years ago. They said it like 3 months ago. They said it like right before the bubble started. You know, the same analysts that were saying the Blazers were going to put the Lakers out. The Lakers had no defense. The Lakers can't shoot. They can't defend guards, even though they had the #1 defense in the NBA the whole season. But regardless, they said that the Houston Rockets were going to give the Lakers problems. And I said the Houston Rockets would be a bigger problem for the Lakers than I thought when I thought they were going to play the Clippers. I said this is going to be their biggest challenge, and they wiped away them in 5 games. And then when the Clippers lost to the Nuggets, they said Denver was going to give the Lakers problems because they can shoot, and they just defeated the Clippers, and yada, 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 yada. You just hear all of this stuff. None of it made sense, by the way. But nevertheless, that was what was being said about LeBron James, and Anthony Davis has no dog, and LeBron James is old, and, you know, all of this, hoopla, hoopla. But here's what I want to say about Mr. LBJ, LeBron James, my GOAT. We'll have the GOAT debate another time, but my GOAT, the best player I've ever seen play. My favorite player is Kobe. Let's not get it twisted. My favorite player is Kobe Bean Bryant. Ever. This is my first. He's the person that made me fall in love with sports, made me fall in love with basketball, all of that stuff. But LeBron James is the best player I've ever seen. He's the best player to ever walk the face of the earth. Now, but here's the thing about LeBron, and here's why his greatness needs to be magnified. You really need to take into account what we just witnessed, him winning his 4th championship, his 3rd finals MVP with 3 different teams. And that's really what I want to focus on right here, right now. So think about this. He's the first person to win finals MVP with 3 different teams. Kawhi Leonard still has a chance to do that when he gets back. But think about Kawhi Leonard's first finals MVP. He wasn't the best player on that team. He didn't lead that team in points, rebounds, assists, or field goal percentage during that finals. It was the 2014 finals when they defeated the Miami Heat and LeBron James and the Heat, whatever. So I'm not trying to discredit that finals MVP, but all finals MVPs aren't weighed equally. They're not the same. It is what it is. That one ain't the same as this one or any of the previous 3 LeBrons ever had. So there's that. Another thing. So with LeBron, he is a dynasty, right? You know, we talked about team dynasties, what teams are able to do, like the Golden State Warriors dynasty and the Lakers dynasty with Shaq and Kobe and the Spurs dynasty and Jordan and the Bulls dynasty. But there's never been a individual player that's able to become a dynasty across the league. We saw, like I mentioned, the people and the players that were able to do it and the teams that were able to do it in one scenario. Whether it's Bill Russell in the 60s, Jordan in the 90s, Kobe and Shaq in the early 2000s, Magic and Kareem in the 80s, Bird and subsequently in the 80s as well. But there's never been a player dynasty that can pick up and go across the country and start his own and continue his dynasty like there is in LeBron James. We've never seen it in sports, ever. Never seen it in sports. Most dynasties is one player or centered around 1 or 2 players in one spot over a course of time. The Warriors dynasty is centered around Stephen Clay and Draymond, and then they added Kevin Durant. You know, you got, interchangeable pieces, right? You got your core and interchangeable pieces. LeBron James is the core. He is the core of a dynasty. Think about everywhere he's went. He was drafted to Cleveland. He took them to a championship with Drew Gooden and Boobie Gibson and Zydrunas Ilgauskas at 23 years old. To the finals at 23 years old. So that wasn't good enough. So he picks up his dynasty and takes it to Miami. The same Miami team. People try to compare the Kevin Durant and LeBron James moving to Miami and the Golden State. No, hell no. It ain't nowhere near the same. Because that Miami team hadn't won a playoff game in 4 years before LeBron got there. I think in 2011, they hadn't won a playoff series since 2007 until LeBron got there. And he created a dynasty in Miami. 2 championships in 4 years, 4 straight finals appearances. And he picks up his dynasty and takes it back to Cleveland, who had been miserable. 2 number 1 overall picks in a 4-year span. 2 number 1 overall picks in a 4-year span. 2 number 1 overall picks, Kyrie Irving and Andrew Wiggins, in a 4-year span. And plops down and creates a dynasty there. 4 finals appearances, another championship in a town that had never seen a championship in almost 65 years, in 70 years practically. Picks up his dynasty. And this is all within 2 years. Within 2 years, he had a championship in Miami. Within 2 years, he had a championship in Cleveland. Picks up his dynasty and takes it to L.A., takes it to Titletown, who had been the basement with the Knicks for the last half decade. Drafting guys like Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram and Julius Randle, who are solid players. They're not franchise changers. They're not all-world beaters. Plops his dynasty down in L.A., ships the young guys out, brings in AD, orchestrates that. People say he orchestrated it. Obviously, it was Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson's idea from the jump. But, hey, they want to give him credit for orchestrating it because they were giving him credit for ruining the young core. So let's give him credit for orchestrating the AD deal. He is signed to Clutch Sports. So, hey, it is what it is. Plops his dynasty down in L.A. and within 2 years, they said LeBron was going to L.A. to make movies, y'all. They said he went to L.A. to make movies and not to win championships. And within 2 calendar years, has another championship. He has another dynasty. He got hurt last year, and people said he was washed. He was the washed king. He was the washed king because the man got hurt. His first significant injury in the history of his 17-year career. His first significant injury, the groin injury that actually had him sidelined for upwards of 20 games. And plops his dynasty down in L.A., and all they do is win a championship. It's unfathomable. It's unprecedented. You can't compare it to anything else. There's no one else out here that's been able to do that. Nobody. 3 different spots. 3 finals MVPs. 4 championships. Nobody else can say that. Think about this. Let's cross-sport it. Let's make it cross-sports, right? Because I like I always like comparisons. But let's take a great player in the NFL, right? Let's take Aaron Rodgers, who has a championship. He's roughly around the same age as LeBron. I think Aaron Rodgers is a little bit older. I think he's like 36, 37, 38, somewhere around that. 30. LeBron's 35. Say of Aaron Rodgers. This would be like if Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl in Green Bay, got up, went to the Texans. The Texans ain't never won nothing. Cleveland ain't never won nothing. Goes to the Texans, wins a championship in Houston, gets up and goes to the Browns, or goes to a huge brand like the Cowboys, rather, because he went from Green Bay, which is historic, but Cleveland ain't historic, but whatever. Green Bay to Houston, and then goes to a super historic franchise like the Cowboys, who ain't never won. Cowboys ain't won nothing in 25 years now. Lakers haven't won something in 25 years, but they haven't won nothing in a very long time. Goes to the Cowboys and wins another Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, say if Aaron Rodgers did that. Green Bay, Houston, and Dallas. That's what LeBron has done in his career. Cleveland, Miami, back to Cleveland, to LA. And it's all the same results, man. It is all the same results. Let's just, before we get into our Jordan debate, our Jordan conversation, let's just soak this in because this is what this man did. This is what this man did. It's never been done. And I don't know if it'll ever be done again. By the time LeBron James is done playing basketball, he already leads. Think about this. He already leads the category. He's the most points scored ever in playoff history. Like the most points in the finals ever. Second most triple-doubles in the finals ever. By the time he's done playing, he'll be #1 scoring in the history, basketball, in the regular season ever. He'll be top 5 in assists and top 10 in rebounds. And we'll be saying, and you think there'll be people that say there's a better player than him that played basketball? It's won 4 championships and counting. 4 finals MVPs and counting. 3 different stops along the way over 17 years and counting. Come on, y'all. It just don't make no sense what this man's been able to do. It does not make any sense. LeBron James is different. LeBron James is GOAT James. And he continues to prove why. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. with the Ball Sports Network. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.